a true legend in the eyes of those who are willing to sacrifice their life in the heat of battle. A continuous climax in both storytelling and in gameplay, and an ever-invigorating tale of plot twist after plot twist. For decades, Metal Gear Solid has embodied these attributes and have always built upon them in each installment to the franchise. Many memorable and spectacular moments have spawned from this series for video gamers alike, as well as true, legendary gaming history. Scenes of woe, peril, heartbreak, and true honest-to-God seat-gripping pleasure for the player, all unfolding before their eyes as they witness the story of Metal Gear unravel before them. There are many to be named, and in honor of the upcoming 5th entry to the very lovely addition to the legend, here is a compiled list of my personal favorite top 10 Metal Gear Solid moments. Number 10. The destruction of Mother Base and the hidden bomb. The only reason why this moment from its most recent entry, Ground Zeroes, is at the bottom of the list is because of its lighter weight in prelude to the bigger events to come in the Phantom Pain. Its impact is nothing more than a mere setup and was but a quick taste. Perhaps Ground Zeroes might have benefited more if maybe the attack on Mother Base at the end of the mission was a final boss battle or served as a one last gunfire extravaganza challenge for the player. But due to the fact that it was simply a cutscene and nothing more, derails its strength just a bit. But, nevertheless, the final result in what occurred was still unsettling and a huge loss for Snake and company, as well as those who spent time developing Mother Base back in Peace Walker. And seeing as how this one major plot twist becomes the catalyst for energy behind the upcoming title, it definitely had to have landed a spot here on the list at number 10.
They played us like a damn fiddle!
Number 9. Big Boss and Snake make peace. There are, without a doubt, a plethora of memorable moments from Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots, the supposed last entry of the saga. Its tale wraps up everything that the Metal Gear universe had been building up to, and one of the more heartfelt scenes was of Big Boss finally making peace with Solid Snake, his very own son. Though enemies from the start, the original Snake finally decides to put down the gun once and for all, and redeem himself one last time. Its value stems from the fact that it's the last hurrah for one of our original heroes of the Metal Gear lore. That, along with seeing Solid Snake in more touching moments with loved ones like these, are few and far between. It's simply one of the more sweeter moments in Solid Snake's hard life.
This is good, isn't it?
Number 8. Snake's speech. Snake is truly a man of wisdom, but more so, he's a cold-hearted killing machine who lived a very complicated life. Up until the third act of Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty, we are left to believe that Snake was nothing more than a clone of a killer, left without a purpose except the one he makes for himself. The evolution of his character truly shows sparks in Sons of Liberty.
Find something to believe in, and find it for yourself. And when you do, pass it on to the future.
Through mentoring Raiden, as well as presenting his sturdy friendship with Otacon, Snake really shines as a character to emotionally connect with. But one of his more defining moments was his speech during the epilogue of the game. Truer words had never been spoken before by our hero, and knowing that they were meant for both Raiden and the player is something astonishing in its own right. This moment stands alone as Snake's true characterization and emotional growth in the story, which is why it takes the number 8 spot.
Building the future and keeping the past alive are one and the same thing.
Number 7. The truth about Colonel Campbell and Rose. One of the more defining and maybe somewhat confusing plot twists in the series was when it turned out that familiar Colonel Campbell and newly introduced Rose aren't actually real, but rather computer programs run by the Patriots in order to control Raiden. It was brilliant simply because of the fact that the game forced us to trust and to believe in these two from the get-go. Through codec conversations with Raiden, as well as being his only support for the mission, we as the player truly did feel a level of betrayal and broken trust after seeing our whole world turned upside down as a lie for the Patriots. And knowing that Raiden's whole mission was nothing but a puppet show with us as the instruments throughout it all made it even more insane. This moment right here truly belongs to the number 7 spot.
I need scissors. 61.
Number 6. Liquid is McDonald Miller. Quite similar to the last spot, and probably arguable to say that these moments should be traded in spots, the number 6 spot belongs to the classic moment in Metal Gear Solid 1 when you find out that McDonald Miller, one of legendary Solid Snake's mentors and teachers, has been murdered by his own brother, and to top it all off, Liquid even goes so far as to impersonate him in order to influence Snake into playing the mission the way that would aid Liquid in the end. At that moment, you, the player, was probably just as distraught as our hero was, as a surge of vengeful emotion charged through Snake's mind. The only reason why this moment succeeds number 7 is simply because we eventually come to know and to love more about McDonald Miller in the prequel games of his origin, and to know that such a great right-hand man to Big Boss could be taken down so swiftly by one of the evil twins, its magnitude is simply groundbreaking.
Snake, you've been talking to me, dear brother. Liquid, how the...
Number 5. Gray Fox's Sacrifice. Gray Fox, one of the original best friends and war buddies of Solid Snake, the only man Snake ever trusted on the battlefield in his early years, killed and pummeled into a bloody pulp by the nefarious Liquid Snake and Metal Gear Rex. This scene will forever go down as one of the more passionate influences in Solid Snake's life, as his last few words are finally what begins to create a shift in Snake's life, as he uses Fox's very own words later on in Metal Gear Solid 2 in order to find purpose in his endeavors to stop Metal Gears. Not much explanation needs to be said here. The moment truly speaks for itself. Number 4. Death of Emmerich. It's rare to really see Snake show any kind of emotion. The cold-blooded, merciless soldier who's lived a tough life just doesn't have time for anything else. So when we see a scene like this, a warm, friendly, and motivating handshake and hug for one of his only best friends, it's hard not to put this moment on the list. The death of Emmerich will forever be instilled in us all, but for Otacon, it will live on in a way that we can't even possibly fathom, and we all know what it's like to be down on our luck, have the world crash on our shoulders, and at the end of the day, have one of our very good friends be right there to support us. That friend is Solid Snake. Number 3. Psycho Mantis boss fight. This scene is as infamous as it gets. Every first-time Metal Gear Solid player knows how intuitive, difficult, and downright ingenious this boss battle was. Psycho Mantis, using his telekinetic abilities, along with state-of-the-edge PlayStation hardware at the time, managed to not only move our controllers, but read our memory cards as well. The more memorable parts at this point in the game were the scenes after you had obtained victory, Psycho Mantis revealing his true, hideous face, as well as reading into the past and future of Solid Snake was not only eerily creepy, but haunting as well, which is why it takes the number 3 spot.
The strong man doesn't need to read the future. He makes his own.
Number 2. The Boss's Secret. Peering into the past of the original Snake and taking on the first stepping stone of his descent into madness, the boss's death is without a doubt one of the more defining and marvelously cinematic experiences Metal Gear Solid has to offer. It's at this point in time that Kojima, as well as the rest of Konami, has gripped our hearts and enabled us to see video gaming and story making in an extremely different light. Snake's forced hand in order to kill his mentor, as well as the very woman who bred and raised this stone-cold killing machine, is a scene that is 100% superb. To top it all off, you learn the truth of the boss, and that she had actually sacrificed herself and staged her own defeat by the hands of her very own pupil in order to save the United States from nuclear war, which will forever shatter the fragile minds of Metal Gear fans for years to come. Here's to you, Naked Snake. or should I say, Big Boss, for overcoming this arduous path in life. This moment in Metal Gear lore would have taken a #1 spot if it weren't for the scene that you're about to witness in a minute. But before we reach the #1 most memorable moment in Metal Gear history, let's take a moment to view the honorable mentions, aka the other memorable moments in Metal Gear history that didn't make it onto this list. Deciphering which scene, piece of dialogue, or split second of dire action wasn't easy, and really, when it came down to it, there was only a few that were a close call. Even so, let's give these moments a quick dedication and honorable mention anyway. Moments such as the boss battle with The End from Metal Gear Solid 3 is one such moment. Entering a deadly jungle with traps set about, as well as engaging in a stealth combat action sequence against a legendary sniper who's killed people in wars, is definitely a moment we'll never forget. This, along with the final boss battle with Liquid Snake for MGS1, was also one of the more memorable sequences that didn't land a spot. It's still an amazing fight all the way through, as it pushes the envelope in Snake's mission, as well as the video gaming storytelling. And lastly, the Metal Gear Solid 2 Substance commercial is arguably a hilarious and brilliant creation. Though it isn't really a scene from any Metal Gear game, what it is in its own right has earned its spot on this list as an honorable mention. And without a doubt, let's move on to the #1 spot.
What the?
#1. Liquid Ocelot and Old Snake settle the score. Few moments in video gaming history are as beautiful, cinematic, compelling, and action-thrilled as this one. The final fight between Old Snake and his arch-nemesis, Liquid, in Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots is an astounding conclusion that plucks on all the right heartstrings. This fistfight between the two is unlike any action sequence we've ever seen before in a Metal Gear game. The choreography was out of this world, backed up by some of the most profound musical compositions by Harry Gregson Williams. They say that warriors who have reached an elite status can come to know and to understand each other's feelings through battle. By each locking fist to fist one last time in a fight that has only been built up to with years of rivalry, we as the player could truly say that we managed to find the answer in the heart of battle. And in this case, that answer were all the words of anguish and bitterness these two soldiers have been holding back almost all their lives. The duel between these two legends is something that will forever go down in Metal Gear history. Kataka no waga ni kotai no aru. We've reached the end of this list of my 10 favorite Metal Gear Solid moments, but even with this top 10, there are still many scenes from Metal Gear that are too incredible for us to forget. If you're a fan, then go ahead and leave a comment below telling us what your personal favorite moments in Metal Gear Solid are. And again, thanks for watching.